Have you ever wondered how some gardeners manage to grow pumpkins so enormous they weigh hundreds, sometimes even over 1,000 pounds, while others struggle to harvest fruits no larger than a basketball? It may seem like magic or incredible luck, but the truth is much simpler. Giant pumpkins are the result of careful planning, consistent care, and a series of proven techniques that anyone can learn. The exciting part is that you don't need to be a professional grower to dramatically increase the size and quality of your pumpkins. Whether your goal is to win a local competition, decorate your yard with impressive harvests, or simply enjoy the satisfaction of growing something extraordinary, the methods you'll learn today can make a remarkable difference. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how experienced growers prepare their soil, select the best seeds, feed their plants, and avoid the common mistakes that limit pumpkin growth. Some of these tips may surprise you because they're often overlooked, even by experienced gardeners. Let's begin with the most important decision you'll make before the first seed even goes into the ground. Everything starts with genetics. No matter how perfectly you care for your plants, an ordinary pumpkin variety simply isn't capable of producing truly giant fruit. That's why growers aiming for massive pumpkins choose varieties that have been bred specifically for size over many generations. Among the most famous is the Atlantic Giant, a variety responsible for countless record-breaking pumpkins around the world. These seeds have tremendous genetic potential, but genetics alone are only part of the equation. Even the best seed cannot overcome poor growing conditions. When choosing seeds, buy them from reputable suppliers whenever possible. Healthy, fresh seeds usually germinate more reliably and produce stronger vines. If you save seeds from your own pumpkins, remember that cross-pollination may affect the characteristics of the next generation, making results less predictable. Once you've selected your seeds, the next priority is choosing the perfect growing location. Pumpkins absolutely love sunlight. They need at least 8 hours of direct sun every day. Although 10 or more hours often produces even stronger growth. A shaded location reduces photosynthesis, weakens vines, and limits fruit development. Space is equally important. Giant pumpkin vines spread surprisingly far, sometimes covering several hundred square feet. Crowded plants compete for sunlight, nutrients, and airflow, increasing the risk of disease. Good air circulation helps leaves dry more quickly after rain or watering, reducing fungal problems that can weaken the plant throughout the season. Now let's talk about soil, the hidden foundation beneath every successful giant pumpkin. Rich, loose soil allows roots to expand deeply and absorb both water and nutrients efficiently. Heavy, compacted soil restricts root development and slows plant growth long before you notice problems above ground. Before planting, mix generous amounts of well-aged compost into the soil. Compost improves drainage in heavy soils while helping sandy soils retain moisture. It also supports beneficial microorganisms that naturally improve soil health. Many experienced growers also test their soil before planting. A simple soil test can reveal nutrient deficiencies and pH levels. Pumpkins generally thrive in slightly acidic to neutral soil, with a pH between about 6.5 and 7.0. Correcting nutrient imbalances before planting is much easier than trying to fix problems halfway through the growing season. Once your soil is ready, it's time to think about starting your seeds. In cooler climates, many growers begin seeds indoors several weeks before the last expected frost. This gives young plants a valuable head start and extends the growing season. Plant each seed individually in a biodegradable pot if possible. This allows the seedling to be transplanted with minimal root disturbance. Keep the growing medium consistently moist but never waterlogged. Warm temperatures encourage faster germination, and most healthy seeds sprout within several days under favorable conditions. When the danger of frost has completely passed and the soil has warmed, carefully transplant the seedlings outdoors. Avoid rushing this step. Even a light frost can seriously damage young pumpkin plants, delaying growth at the very beginning of the season when every day matters. After transplanting, water deeply to help settle the soil around the roots and reduce transplant shock. The first few weeks of growth are critical. During this stage, the plant focuses on developing an extensive root system and vigorous vines. Strong early growth creates the foundation needed to support enormous pumpkins later in the season. Many beginners make the mistake of adding excessive fertilizer immediately after planting, hoping for explosive growth. However, too much fertilizer, especially high nitrogen products, can stress young plants or encourage rapid leaf production before the roots are fully established. Patience during these early weeks often rewards growers with healthier, more resilient plants that perform far better throughout the rest of the growing season. Pumpkins are heavy feeders, but they don't need the same nutrients throughout the entire season. Understanding this changing nutritional demand is one of the biggest secrets behind exceptional harvests. During the early vegetative stage, when the vines and leaves are expanding quickly, nitrogen plays an important role. It encourages vigorous green growth, helping the plant build a large solar panel of leaves that will later produce the energy needed for fruit development. However, once flowers begin appearing, it's time to reduce nitrogen and shift toward fertilizers containing higher levels of phosphorus and potassium. Phosphorus supports strong root systems and healthy flower production, while potassium improves fruit development, water regulation, and overall plant strength. Too much nitrogen at this point often produces beautiful vines but disappointingly small pumpkins. Organic growers often supplement with compost tea, fish emulsion, seaweed extract, or well-balanced organic fertilizers. These products release nutrients gradually while supporting beneficial soil life. Regardless of which fertilizer you choose, follow recommended application rates. More fertilizer does not automatically produce bigger pumpkins. In fact, excessive feeding can damage roots, encourage disease, or create nutrient imbalances that reduce yields. Now let's discuss one of the most underestimated factors in pumpkin growing: watering. A giant pumpkin contains an enormous amount of water. That means consistent moisture is essential from planting until harvest. Instead of watering lightly every day, water deeply and less frequently. Deep watering encourages roots to grow farther into the soil, making the plant more resilient during hot weather. Aim to keep the soil evenly moist without becoming soggy. Long periods of drought followed by heavy watering can stress the plant and may even cause developing pumpkins to crack. Morning is usually the best time to water. The leaves have plenty of time to dry before evening, reducing the chance of fungal diseases. Whenever possible, direct water toward the soil rather than spraying the foliage. Drip irrigation or soaker hoses are excellent choices because they deliver water efficiently while keeping leaves dry. Adding mulch around the plants provides several additional benefits. A thick layer of straw, shredded leaves, or untreated grass clippings helps conserve soil moisture, suppress weeds, regulate soil temperature, and reduce water evaporation during the hottest weeks of summer. As the vines continue spreading, another important task begins: training them. Rather than allowing vines to grow in every direction, experienced growers gently guide them into an organized pattern. This improves airflow, makes maintenance easier, and reduces the chances of vines becoming tangled or damaged. As secondary vines grow, many growers bury sections of them with loose soil. This simple technique encourages additional roots to develop along the vine. More roots mean greater nutrient and water uptake, creating an even stronger support system for the developing pumpkin. Now we arrive at one of the most fascinating secrets of giant pumpkin growing. Although a healthy plant may produce many flowers and several young pumpkins, experienced growers rarely allow all of them to mature. Instead, they select the single healthiest pumpkin, or sometimes two during the early stages, and remove the rest. At first, This seems wasteful. Why remove perfectly healthy pumpkins? Because every additional fruit competes for the plant's limited energy. By concentrating nearly all available nutrients into one pumpkin, the plant can produce a fruit far larger than it ever could if several pumpkins were growing at once. Choosing the right pumpkin is important. Look for one growing on a strong section of the main vine, ideally several feet away from the base of the plant. A healthy stem, symmetrical shape, and steady early growth are all positive signs. Once you've chosen your champion, continue removing new flowers and additional pumpkins that appear later. This allows the plant to devote nearly all of its resources to the selected fruit. As your pumpkin grows larger, you'll notice another potential problem. The stem connecting the pumpkin to the vine can become stressed if the fruit develops at an awkward angle. To prevent this, many growers gently reposition the young pumpkin while it's still small, ensuring it grows at roughly a right angle to the vine. This reduces pressure on the stem as the pumpkin becomes heavier. Never attempt to move a large pumpkin. Even slight twisting can snap the stem and end the growing season instantly. Supporting the pumpkin itself also becomes important. Place a board, pallet, or thick layer of sand beneath the fruit to keep it off damp soil. This improves air circulation underneath and helps reduce rot, insect damage, and uneven growth. Some growers even place a light-colored cloth or shade fabric over the pumpkin during periods of intense summer heat. Surprisingly, direct sunlight on the fruit itself isn't always beneficial. Excessive heat can damage the outer skin and slow healthy development. Meanwhile, continue inspecting your plants regularly. Healthy leaves should remain deep green, firm, and free from unusual spots or discoloration. Catching problems early is always easier than trying to rescue a severely weakened plant later. One of the most exciting moments in the entire growing season arrives when your pumpkin plants begin producing flowers. This is the stage where all your preparation finally starts, turning into visible results. But many gardeners don't realize that successful pollination can make the difference between a pumpkin that grows for months and one that shrivels and falls off within days. Pumpkin plants produce two different types of flowers. Male flowers usually appear first and grow on long, thin stems. Female flowers develop slightly later and can be recognized by the tiny pumpkin already forming behind the blossom. Pollination occurs when pollen from a male flower reaches the female flower. Bees are excellent pollinators, and a healthy population of bees can often handle this naturally. However, rainy weather, cold mornings, or a lack of pollinating insects may reduce successful pollination. That's why many serious growers prefer hand pollination. Early in the morning, when flowers are fully open, pick a freshly opened male flower and carefully remove its petals. Gently brush the pollen-covered center against the stigma inside the female flower. Within a day or two, you'll usually know whether pollination was successful. The tiny pumpkin will begin enlarging instead of turning yellow and dropping off. Once pollination is complete and you've selected your best pumpkin, your focus shifts toward protecting both the fruit and the plant. Large pumpkin vines are surprisingly vulnerable to pests. Squash vine borers can tunnel inside stems, cutting off the flow of water and nutrients. Squash bugs feed on leaves and stems, weakening the plant over time. Cucumber beetles damage foliage and may spread bacterial diseases. The best defense is regular inspection. Walk through your pumpkin patch every few days and examine both sides of the leaves. Look for eggs, insects, damaged stems, or wilted leaves. Catching problems early is far easier than dealing with a major infestation later. Keeping the area around the plants free of weeds also helps. Weeds compete for nutrients and moisture while providing hiding places for unwanted insects. Diseases are another challenge, especially during warm, humid weather. Powdery mildew is one of the most common problems. It appears as a white, dusty coating on leaves and gradually reduces the plant's ability to produce energy. Downy mildew, bacterial diseases, and various fungal infections may also develop under poor growing conditions. Fortunately, prevention is usually easier than treatment. Proper spacing between plants improves airflow. Watering the soil instead of the leaves keeps foliage drier. Removing badly infected leaves helps slow the spread of disease. Healthy soil and balanced nutrition also make plants naturally more resistant. Avoid working around pumpkin plants when the leaves are wet. Moisture can help spread fungal spores from one part of the garden to another. As your pumpkin begins gaining several pounds every day, you'll be amazed by how quickly it changes. During peak growth, giant pumpkins can increase dramatically in size over a very short period. At this stage, consistency becomes more important than ever. Avoid sudden changes in watering or fertilizer schedules. Rapid fluctuations can stress the plant and increase the risk of cracking. Continue checking that the stem remains free from twisting or excessive pressure. If vines begin lifting because the pumpkin is expanding, carefully loosen nearby sections of the vine so they aren't pulled too tightly. This simple adjustment can prevent accidental stem damage. Another important practice involves pruning. Many experienced growers remove new side shoots, extra flowers, and unnecessary vine growth throughout the season. This keeps the plant focused on supporting its chosen pumpkin rather than producing endless new growth. However, avoid removing too many healthy leaves. Every leaf acts like a solar panel, converting sunlight into energy that feeds the growing fruit. Removing excessive foliage reduces the plant's ability to produce the sugars needed for maximum size. Weather also plays an important role. During periods of extreme heat, temporary shade cloth can help protect both the pumpkin and the leaves from excessive stress. If strong winds are expected, inspect vines carefully afterward for tears or broken stems. Heavy rain can compact soil and splash disease organisms onto leaves, so maintaining mulch throughout the season remains beneficial. As autumn approaches, growth naturally begins slowing. The pumpkin's skin gradually hardens and develops its mature color. This tough outer shell protects the fruit and allows it to be stored much longer after harvest. Resist the temptation to harvest too early. A mature pumpkin usually has a hard rind that cannot be easily pierced with a fingernail. The stem also becomes thicker and begins drying naturally. When harvest time finally arrives, never lift a giant pumpkin by its stem. Instead, use several people or specialized lifting straps for extremely large pumpkins to support the fruit from underneath. The stem can easily break under the enormous weight, creating an opening for decay. After months of careful attention, harvesting a massive, healthy pumpkin is an incredibly rewarding experience. It represents far more than impressive size. It reflects patience, consistency, observation, and the willingness to learn from each growing season. Even if your first attempt doesn't produce a record-breaking giant, don't be discouraged. Every season teaches valuable lessons about your soil, your climate, and your growing techniques. Many champion growers spent years improving their methods one step at a time before producing truly extraordinary pumpkins. The most important thing is to start, observe your plants closely, and enjoy the process. Every vine, every flower, and every harvest builds experience that will help you grow even bigger and healthier pumpkins in the years ahead. If you found these giant pumpkin growing secrets helpful, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more practical gardening tips, proven growing techniques, and seasonal advice to help you achieve your best harvest yet. Thanks for watching, and happy gardening.